Hey guys, I wanted to share with y'all my little takeaway from the reading from Tuesday on Poor in Spirit. I was reading it and I remembered that there was something about this story that stood out to me when I studied it one time, and so I pulled out a commentary. And it's probably not the way that you do Lectio Divina, but it's the way that I do it sometimes, and it was really good for me. And as I read through the commentary, I was reminded that this woman, as she's hounding Jesus and the disciples, asking him to heal her daughter, and the disciples just say, "Send her away, just send her away." And Jesus replies with, "I was sent to the lost sheep of Israel," which is not a great response to send her away. Sending her away would be like sending her away to stay focused on the mission to the lost sheep of Israel. But I think that Jesus was riding this middle line of knowing he was going to heal this woman's daughter, but he needed his disciples to see that even a Canaanite woman gets an ear with Jesus. And this woman pursued him and asked him until he turned and he said to her, what did he say? He said, "It's not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." And her reply, the sheet that we handed out says, she replied, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs." But what she really said, she answered with a word in Greek that's nigh, which doesn't mean no. You'd think that nigh means no, but it is a positive response to a negative question. She said, "Yes, it is." She disagreed with Jesus. He said, "It's not right to give the children's food to the dogs." And she said, "Yes, it is. Because even the dogs get fed by the crumbs under the master's table." And so what you have here is this beautiful picture, opposing picture of poor in spirit. Like even the dog gets the crumbs, but also this willingness to push back, to lean in, to wrestle with God, which it seems like God always wants us to do that. He doesn't, poor in spirit doesn't mean groveling and being a worm and never like a spiritual worm, a doormat, and never asking for anything. But poor in spirit, I think, means knowing that we have no hope for any of our needs outside of Jesus, and so we go to him and we push back. And that's what it says in James chapter 4, right? Like, why do you quarrel and fight among yourselves? It's because of the passions that are waging war within you, and you have not because you ask not. And this woman asked, but she didn't just ask and push back for things just for like her own passions, but she was crying out for her daughter's healing. That to push back in poor in spirit isn't to push back for worldly things. I think of when Peter pushed back against Jesus when Jesus said, "Hey, the Son of Man's gonna be crucified," and Peter pushed back and said, "May it never be." He rebuked Jesus, and Jesus said, "Man, get behind me, Satan, because you don't have the things in mind that are from God, but from the world." And so James says, "You ask and do not receive because you ask wrongly to spend them on your passions." And so this poor in spirit leads us to cry out to God, to push in with Jesus and cry out for what is according to his will, what is according to righteousness. And we go boldly, like Hezekiah saying, "Give me more years to live." And God does, like Moses wheeling and dealing with God to change God's mind to not destroy Israel. I mean, Israel gets the name, the one who wrestles with God. His very people are those who will wrestle with him. And so poor in spirit, there's something about it that calls us into a more active relationship with God, totally understanding that we have nothing without Him, but that's why we lean in and push in. And so, what came up for me in this is I've got some fights and quarrels within me. There's some passions of mine that wage war, and I want to process through the things I ask from God that are more in line with my passions. But what I also want to do is process through what passions and desires do I have right now that are in line with God's will. And I want to get pushy with those things. Like this woman who says in front of all the disciples, yes, it is. And Jesus, in His wisdom and in His love, brings the disciples from this direction to understand that His love is for her also. And He also validates her and brings her into this realization that she's in a relationship with Him, and the daughter gets healed, and He brings everyone together in Him. So may our Lord Jesus bring us together in Him as we get pushy about the desires in our hearts that are in line with His.